Hey guys, Anonala is gonna release very soon on global, so we're gonna figure out, should you pull for Anonala, why should you pull, why shouldn't you pull, and when should you pull. Let's talk about it.
Raisin ripen again. For whom are the devil's eyes closed once more?
The most important thing you have to be aware of is version 3.4, as you have to save up pulls for this version, or otherwise you will sit there crying and missing out. Paper Heron is gonna release there, for example. That is a must pull for every single player on the planet, no matter what. So there already goes your bunnies. But it gets way worse, or better I should say, because there's a Euphoria banner. And there you have to do multiple pulls as well. For example, 2 Fairy is gonna be on there, and 2 Fairy will be played together in this new Paper Heron team. So not only do you want to pick up 2 Fairy there, but you want her, or you even need to have her, to be honest, on at least portrait number 1. Preferably even portrait number 2. The same scenario occurs for Paper Heron. You want her on at least P2. Keep that in mind. So not only do you have to pull for these 2 characters, but you have to gain you should gain portraits for them. You can't let 2 Fairy go without portraits, with at least 1. That is 100% guaranteed. So there you go. Calculate your pulls when it comes to everything that you pull for before version 3.4. That is the most important thing in the entire game right now. Then it gets better, or worse, right? Again, because there is Willow on this Euphoria banner in 3.4 as well, and she is insanely strong. They tripled her damage output with this Euphoria update. Now, she is not gonna be viable in version 3.4 right out of the gate, but this is a very recommended future investment, because if they would release a new character for Poison, or if any of the current Poison lineup gets a Euphoria update, like imagine Tuesday, for example, gets a Euphoria update, Poison is gonna be so hardcore back in the meta, and you do not want to miss out on that. If that happens, right, if a new character, if another character from this Poison lineup gets a Euphoria update and you sit there without Willow, like you don't want that scenario to occur, trust me. Then a little bit of an honorable mention has to go to the character 6, especially if you pulled for like the Afterglow lineup around like Beryl and then Marsha, you have Isolde. 6 also becomes a must pull, because at that point you have to free up Flutter Page from this Afterglow lineup. You cannot have Flutter Page in this Afterglow lineup anymore, and the only viable character in the entire game to do this without being too pathetic is the character 6. So there is another potential pull that you will have to do. And there's more, right? Because Anonala gets a new Euphoria update in version 3.3, so she will be on the Euphoria banner there. That is something else that you definitely don't want to miss out on, and something that you definitely want to pick up, because Anonala will be the partner in crime for Paper Heron and will be played in this team together with Paper Heron and 2 Fairy. So those are here all the pulls that are actually recommended to do. At least these 4 right here. 6 depends on, do you play Afterglow or not. I mentioned the Afterglow lineup already, so if you already pulled for Beryl, then you will also have to be pulled for Isolde if you already did not have her, right? And if you have these 2 at your disposal right now, you probably pulled for portraits for Beryl, by the way. So the chances are that you are either completely broke or very close to it. And you don't have too much time to save up anymore for all of this madness down here. So yeah, you will probably already be in a little bit of trouble and in a bummer situation. That's why I recommended you to skip the Afterglow lineup. And if you have pulled for Beryl, probably with portraits, if you pulled for Isolde, right? If you have these two, if you play these two, then Marsha in version 3.3 turns into a must pull as well. That is another huge investment that could go completely the wrong way and eat up a lot of your bunnies. You know what I mean? Again, you absolutely don't want that to happen, but if you're in a situation, you have to. And then, yeah, these characters down here are probably not gonna happen for your account, and that's gonna be very, very bad. Additionally, right, there is Brume. I see a lot of people, for some reason that I personally, I can't figure it out, they fall for this misinformation and believe these community tier list or whatever it is called nowadays. They put Brume there as the strongest team in the entire game, and yeah, of course, like, that is the craziest hardcore misinformation you could possibly fall for. But most of the player base does indeed fall for this dog shit, right? They believe in what these people call their calculations, right? Let me explain to you briefly how they establish the tier list. They take absolutely nothing into consideration. What they do is they play the lineup, they go for a 10 round battle. Most of the times they do this even in mains bulletin, which is completely irrelevant content, but they do this. They play a character there for 10 rounds, then they look at how much damage that character did, and whatever the number tells them in comparison, that is how good or bad they say the character is. Everything else, all the utility is completely disregarded. The cleansing of buffs, the cleansing of debuffs, the damage taken reduction, the healing amount increased, the leech rates and stuff, everything else. But this damage after 10 rounds is completely disregarded when it comes to what they call their calculations, which are not even calculations. They, you know, if you watch my channel, I always use the phrase in the past, monkey see damage, monkey think wow. And this is exactly how they establish their tier list and how they judge characters, and that is completely brain rot garbage, right? It couldn't be more like brain rot. I'm completely being honest, right? It is that case in fact. So there you go about Brume. That's a 100% must skip character because it destroys your account, as it takes away Fatutu from the follow-up setup, which you can't have. It takes Sharon away from the Dynamo team. You can't have that. You will damage your account heavily, and the team that you get in return is not bad, yeah, but it's not worth the trade-off at all. So please, 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 please keep that in mind. And there is even a little bit more, and here comes the kicker as to why you shouldn't, no matter what, immediately pull for Anonala, but you should delay your pulls until at least February 12th. So on February 13th, you can then decide if you pull for Anonala or not, because on the 12th, we get Chen Higuang released in China, and we cannot judge these characters' power level right now. Liang Yue and Chen Higuang, they will have to be played together, and they will have to be played perfectly. Otherwise, Liang Yue will be too slow and she will not ramp up fast enough and therefore not deal enough damage. We will have to see exactly how this goes and how strong this is exactly before we pull for Anonala. Otherwise, you would play the follow-up attack team, aka Flutterpage and Fatutu, together with Chen Higuang and Liang Yue. If you would have now pulled for Kalabauna and Anonala though, you would completely waste them and have them replaced and gathering dust, because what if Chen Higuang and Liang turn out to be stronger than them? You wasted a whole bunch of bunnies for these characters here, Kalabauna and Anonala, that would then turn useless. That's why you have to wait and see how strong Chen Higuang and Liang Yue are actually together. That's of course another very important note, that if you decide to pull for Anonala, You also need to have an and or pull for Kalaba Una. These two are partners in crime. They do not go without each other. So, right, keep that in mind. And there we go. Now you know everything that you, like all the madness that you have to be ready for. There is in 3.4, the meta will shift for the first time in the biggest way we have seen the meta shift since the second anniversary. So keep all of this in mind. You have to save up a gigantic amount of pulls if you don't want to sit there crying your eyes out in version 3.4. And that's what you have to why you have to decide this kind of for yourself, right? You have to know, hey, did I pull for Afterglow? Do I have Isolde and Beryl? If I do, I will play Flutterpage and Fatutu with Beryl and Isolde for now, and I can't use them anyways for Kala Anjo. So there we go, right? You should already not pull for Anonala if you pulled for Beryl and Isolde, because again, you cannot use Flutterpage and Fatutu in two separate teams. Also, like I told you, the character Marsha then becomes a must pull in version 3.3, and you probably, maybe, have to pick up Anonala there as well. And like, you know, you have portraits for Beryl, otherwise, like, why did you even pull? And then, how, like, where's the time where you're gonna save up for version 3.4 to have enough pulls there? You need Paper Heron on P2, you need Two Fairy at least at P1, you need all of these characters that I showed you earlier, right? Where do you think your pulls are coming from? And that's why I would only recommend you to pull for Anonala if you haven't pulled for Afterglow, and don't pull immediately, but wait until February 12th and then come back here and gain your accurate information about the power levels regarding these characters. If like Chen Higuang and Liang turn out to be better than Kalaba Una and Anjo, you then did not waste your pulls, but you can save up and build your team, your follow-up team based around Flutterpage and Fatutu, together with Chen Higuang and Liang instead of Kalaba Una and Anonala. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope that was fun and informative. If you like Reverse 1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.